Time is our most valuable commodity. How do you spend yours? My name is Katie Burke, and I want to support people in aligning their time with the communities they care about and what they deeply cherish. I believe that people can be more effective in the spaces that they are in if they are more intentional with how they spend their time and aligning that with their values. Today, we will learn some strategies about how to do that in your own life, how to lead daily undertakings with a quality versus quantity approach. But first, let me tell you a story. It was a fall day and campus was booming. It was the kind of day that you just want a maple frosted donut and a hot coffee. Two women were walking across campus, one a mentor, one a mentee. And the mentor asked the mentee, "How are you doing?" She replied, "I'm so busy." The mentor wanted to know more, so she asked, "Busy doing what?" "I don't know what that means." The mentee gave some more insight. She felt overwhelmed. She felt like she had bitten off more than she can chew. She was doing more, but meaning less. She felt like she was only scratching the surface, and her conversations with people didn't have any depth to it. She was overwhelmed. Any college students in here sound familiar? The mentor saw this as an opportunity to dig a little deeper and asked her, "Are you aligning your action with your values? Or are you just stacking things up on some imaginary list? Are you focused more on quantity versus quality?" This was a really important conversation that grew something magical. It helped the mentee to realign her life and become more effective, and it also blossomed into the ideas of vertical and horizontal leadership. Preparing to be vertical leaders are a set of ideas that were developed by people, a small group of women. Yes, the mentee and mentor relationship are two of those women up on the screen, and also Jordan DiPentima in the room tonight. Jordan, Ella, Tepper Feliciano, and I have been exploring this idea of vertical leadership and what it means to be so busy all the time. When did society start to glorify busy? Why are we expected to have a laundry list of things, check, 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 when really it's people that matter? Really, it's the depth of our involvement that matters. So preparing to be vertical leaders is understanding a scope. It's making some clear decisions about what your mission will be, what your values are, and aligning action with that no matter what. It is either an absolute yes or a no, and guess what happens when it's a no? You don't do it. It means consciously saying yes to things, knowing why you are saying yes to them, and actually saying no more often. This exploration with our team of women who care about students and care about people enough to be studying something that if people practice this can make their days more effective, began with this idea of roles. We asked students mostly, to create mind maps of their roles. Start to list them out. Figure out where your time is going. Well, in workshops that we were practicing this in, we actually ran out of paper a couple times because the amount of roles that our students had were just so many. And I think I can certainly relate, and many of you can as well. So we took this idea of roles and we kept asking questions. And we decided to determine that the theoretical underpinnings for our research and for this further exploration would be rooted in sociology and leadership studies. Sociology, mostly because Ella had studied sociology in her undergrad and felt like roles really were a significant part of this conversation. Leadership studies, because all three of us believe that leadership development is self-development. It is the ability and the decision to make an impact in the spaces that you are in. Therefore, it applies to all of us. Leadership is action, not position. It is not a title reserved for a few people. It is open and eligible to everyone in this room. It is an opportunity to be conscious of the choices that you are making and the responsibility to be intentional consistently with those decisions. Now, when you look at leadership and you look at sociology and you refer back to roles as we were originally speaking, you can understand how that can get overwhelming. Roles pile on top of each other. We might not even immediately think of the roles that don't have positions that we might list on our resume, such as being a mother, being a daughter, being a wife, being a partner. These roles take time. How are we doing in these roles? How are we doing in our role as student leader? How are we doing in our role as faculty? If we consciously think about this, sometimes it can get overwhelming. And with the amount of roles many of us have in this room, I'm sure that it does. So sociology gives us a space to look at these roles. And as you can see from these explanations, role strain, role overload, and role conflict are very real things that, again, I have experienced in my practice, and I know my students do too. It's constant competition. It's not necessarily doing things because we think that they're going to make a difference in the future or for anyone else's lives. It's because we've already said yes and we're just going to keep doing it. So what this framework implores is for people to be more intentional with their time and to ask the hard questions. So the horizontal leader. It is almost what it sounds, horizontal, right? It doesn't go deep. It scratches the surface. The horizontal leader is the leader who is always busy. We have been conditioned to manage almost every second of our time, right? We are bosses at time management. But that may have set us up. That may have set us up to over-program ourselves and over-schedule our planners. We, as horizontal leaders, as I have been in my life and sometimes am, I'm constantly busy. But busy doing what? I am not processing as much as I should as a horizontal leader. I'm not necessarily making meaning. So I could be going through some of the same mistakes over and over again because I'm not pausing to learn, reflect, and adjust my course. The horizontal leader is, again, spread too thin over multiple roles, so they can't devote enough or too much energy to any of them to truly make change. They might be the one that often looks distracted. I sometimes sit in a classroom or in a meeting space and I look around the room and hardly anyone's engaged in the conversation at hand, whether it be on their cell phones or just staring off into space. That could be an effect of being horizontal, distracted, thinking about their next class, thinking about their next meeting. The horizontal leader is feeling like they're making too many bad sacrifices. They're not always able to choose between one good thing or another good thing. It's often two bad things that don't actually help them get to where they want to be in their future. On the other hand, you see the vertical leader. And this stark juxtaposition is intentional for you to see this framework come to life. The vertical leader is the one intentionally placing energy into the fewer roles that they have chosen to align their time with. They get the most out of their time. They're able to go deep. They're making a difference in their own life and in the lives of others. They have a clearly articulated scope, mission, vision, and values, and guess what? They align their action with that. My life has been guilty for both of these. I have been very horizontal at times. I have been very vertical at times. And the most recent example to bring this framework again to life is I was finishing up my PhD, hallelujah, and that was a lot of years of school. That was a lot of figuring stuff out. And I had been engaged to someone for many years. Previous to that, we had been together many, many more years. And I just knew that I couldn't add planning a wedding to everything else going on in my life. It was one of the hardest decisions ever to ask him if it was okay if we waited to get married after 10 years of being together. And luckily, he said yes. So we got married in July of 2018 after I had finished my PhD in December of 2017. Hallelujah. most importantly because the man of my dreams is still the man of my life. So my decision to be vertical has now led me to be this blushing bride and now be the proud owner and mother of Franklin, who about 8 months ago was the little puppy on the bottom right and is now the giant behemoth up next to Santa. And he's amazing and reminds me every day of why this vertical approach to living is going to help you be more meaningful. It's going to help you find moments of bliss. It's going to help you make positive change in your life and the lives of others. Now what? You've heard a lot of challenges tonight, and I offer some more. Be more of a vertical leader. Be more of a vertical leader within your own mindset and within your action. For a while, I was very vertical up here, but my actions didn't allow me to showcase that I could be vertical in real life. Re-clarify and consistently articulate your mission, vision, and values so you can be sure that the decisions you're making about how you spend your time align with that. As we looked into this work and began to dig through the literature, essentialism popped out at us. And Greg McGowan in this text said an essentialist produces more, brings forth more by removing more instead of doing more. So just as I began, time is our most valuable commodity. I challenge you to not answer the question of how are you with, I'm busy. Don't be busy. Be meaningful. Be grateful. Be your best. Thank you.